Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves is the latest film in the Dungeons & Dragons franchise, so let's rank them all from worst to best. Hey everybody, my name is Justin here. I try to watch everything that hits theaters and on streaming services. If you guys are like me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and click that bell notification for more up and coming content. Leave your list down below. How would you rank all 4 Dungeons & Dragons films from worst to best? Have you seen them all? Coming in last place is Dungeons & Dragons: Wrath of the Dragon God. This was a straight-to-DVD sequel to the 2000 film that was released in 2005. This is the least exciting one. From my understanding of all 4 Dungeons & Dragons films, there's enough references to the role-playing game and nods and locations, characters as well. But this is the one that I found to be absolutely boring. From the quest to the characters gathering together, all of it felt really underdeveloped. And we have a group of characters that gather together in about the middle half of the film, and their introductions felt so brief to where you don't even know these characters, and they are all coming together, and it just makes the pacing for this film so absolutely quick, and it's an hour and 44 minutes long, so there is time to develop this film and the characters within it, but everything within this film is poorly executed, from the horrible CGI to the bad action scenes to the sound effects for every single time someone gets hit. Everything about this film was bad for me. I did not find it to be entertaining at all. The story was absolutely boring, and the character's journey to find this powerful orb before our villain summons this black dragon, the story itself is absolutely dull. Coming in third place is Dungeons & Dragons. This was the first cinematic attempt of having this role-playing game in theaters, and they did not succeed with this movie. I just watched it for the first time a couple weeks ago prior to the release of Honor Among Thieves, and my God. I've heard about this film, and I heard about how bad it was. I wasn't prepared for it. It was just terrible. The poor CGI to the poorly executed jokes in here to the story, the acting, everything in here just was a mix of a terrible experience. The film tried to have this adventure tone to it. It tried to have these over dramatic performances in here. Marlon Wayans, Jeremy Irons is in the film. They have a pretty solid cast within here, but it could just not find what it wanted to be. From all the different tones within here, trying to be dramatic and action-packed and a comedy as well, it just did not mesh well together. Honor Among Thieves succeeded in doing that, but here it's just like it's trying to take itself way too seriously, to where many times in here, from Jeremy Irons to Marlon Wayans to Thora Birch in here, every character in here feel like they're trying to do something grand with them, but not completing certain storylines and finding a solid tone within here, mixed with in some of the worst CGI I have seen in a film. It's really outdated, even for it being released in 2000. It looked absolutely horrible. It really took you out of some of the action scenes, but the story, the characters, everything in here just did not work. Coming in second place is Dungeons & Dragons 3: The Book of Vile Darkness. This was another straight-to-DVD film, and I absolutely felt that within this movie. Now, this movie's in second place. It's still not a very good film. We see a story involving a new order of knights who try to stop the resurrection of an ancient evil. It had a lot of references and monsters as well to fill in this movie. One main reason why it separates itself from the previous 2 movies that I talked about is some more in-depth moments for our characters. We have an evil character and we have a good character, and there's a lot of differences between the two, but they start to fall in love and really start to challenge each other. So I like that character growth throughout, and looking at the different sides within this film. And as the movie went along, I did start to appreciate the characters in here. Performances were absolutely horrible, but the characters themselves were pretty interesting. Now the makeup within this film, it's just like someone took a Sharpie and just drew over everybody's faces. Our main actress in this film, she has some face markings, but it looks like just a Sharpie drawn on her face. The makeup looks bad. The costume designs are all right. Some of the locations are pretty decent, but you feel that straight to DVD feel with some of the action scenes and the CGI that they use. It looks horrible. And I think this film, and honestly the second film from 2005, really could have benefited from a bigger budget, because many moments you understand what they're trying to accomplish, but it just looks so bad that you just can't help but laugh at it. And I feel like this film really could have benefited from a bigger budget, more love for it, because there is a decent story in here, that good versus evil side, and looking at these characters, I think it worked. But it could have used just a little more touch to it, a little more love, and I think it would have been a much more decent film. But coming in first place is Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. This obviously is the biggest one, the best one. I have not done a ranking video where everything prior to number one was so bad that this movie was an absolute clear choice. When I watched the first three films and I saw the trailer for this, I said, I knew this was going to be the best one. Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, everybody in here gives such a likable performance. All the characters I enjoyed, how they came together, they relied on each other. The action is really good. The scenery, the CGI in here, it's handled very well. The jokes do work. It feels very silly at times, but also not taking itself too seriously. There are some really good dramatic scenes at the end of the film with Michelle Rodriguez, but this film understood its purpose. It didn't want to take itself too seriously. It wanted to have a lot of fun. It wanted to have a lot of action, and it just worked with that. But when it felt like it needed to be dramatic, it worked because our love for these characters and their journey as well. There's enough development for these characters that it's contributing to those dramatic scenes at the end of the film. This is a huge surprise for me. I really didn't expect much from this since I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. My friends have before, but I didn't know what to expect from this film. What I got out of it is a really fun film with a solid cast that feels like it is people playing Dungeons and Dragons and having storylines that are just going off in all these different directions, but you are all focused on the characters and their growth as well. So Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves was the clear choice for the best one. If you've seen all four of them, it's probably an easy choice for you, as well as not only the budget, but the look of it is so different from the previous three films. So there you guys have it, all four Dungeons and Dragons films ranked worst to best. How would you rank them? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.